How you doing, everyone? Welcome back. Well, my wife just showed me a news story that kind of has me pissed off a bit. Actually, no, not kinda, and not just a bit. Yeah, it's got me pissed off. And I looked the story up and I verified it. Now, obviously, we all know that trans people in the military are being kicked out, right? Because the Trump administration has decided that, these people who are serving honorably are not worthy of serving their country. Now, there should be one question and one question only. Can you do the job? Actually, there should be two questions. Can you do the job, and do you have the backs of the people around you? Those should be the only two real questions when determining whether someone can serve or not. I'm a veteran myself, and I'm an Army veteran. This story actually deals with the Air Force, but that's all I really cared about. I didn't care if you were, whatever race, or whether you were straight, gay, bi, tri, whatever. I didn't care if you were trans or, I just didn't care. I cared about making sure everyone came home alive. That's what I cared about. And, so, you know what though? There was a long, long, long period of time where being gay was enough to keep you out, right? In fact, I believe it was the 1990s under the Clinton administration when they implemented Don't Ask, Don't Tell, where you can't be removed for being gay. Actually, you could be removed for outing yourself, I believe, if I remember the policy correctly. Anyway, doesn't matter. Later, Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and I believe this was under the Obama administration, was replaced with, in fact, it was during the Obama administration, I was still in the Army at the time, was replaced with allowing openly gay people to serve in the military. Right? And then at some point, openly trans people could serve. And quite frankly, I have no problem with that. Right? Say what you will about trans people, right? You don't have to like them. You don't have to accept them. You can think they're all a bunch of pedophiles, which is a bullshit thing to think about them, because name one example. Are there trans pedophiles? Yeah, probably. Probably. Is it a major epidemic? No. In fact, look at all the high-profile cases that we've seen just within the past year. There have been dozens and dozens. And most of them were white men, ostensibly straight Christians. Not very Christian-like behavior. But whatever. But the story that I saw, right, with trans people being kicked out of the military, okay, there was an option for them to leave the Air Force with an early retirement if they had served between 15 and 18 years. The Air Force is taking that away and basically just saying, nope, you're done. Offering one lump sum, like they would with a junior airman or soldier, marine, sailor in the other branches. I mean, I have said for years that, politicians are fond of saying, thank you for your service, when what they really mean is, fuck you for your service. Right? And yes, the language is going to be a little bit harsh in this video, even though I normally try to keep it clean. But this is complete bullshit. You know, and the reason that I said that that's what they meant is because look at the issues that we had with the VA, and nobody wanted to fix it. And then, you know, recently, you know, past couple of years when the PACT Act was brought up, all the, you know, so many politicians voted against it, mostly on the Republican side. And now this. Served honorably for 15 to 18 years. You're being told that your kind is no longer accepted here. So, trans Air Force personnel, fuck you for your service. That's what you're being told by your government. That is what they are telling you. Now let's apply this to anybody else, you know, because they want to get rid of the woke military. They want to get rid of the DEI military. Yeah, woke. The military has always been a bastion of wokeness, hasn't it? Always has been, right? You know, the military is stronger now than it has ever been. Ever. And it's also more diverse now than it has ever been. Now, correlation is not causation, but one can make the case that, yeah, we are stronger because of the diversity that we have, because we get so many different perspectives and so many different people's input, right? Instead of just, well, you know what, you're a straight white Christian male, so you'll do, you know, but, you know, you being a trans person, nah, we don't like you. And up next, of course, will be the rest of the LGBTQ community. They're going to ban gays again, or at least they're going to try to. Think they won't. And then they're going to get rid of, you know, anybody who is not a U.S. citizen who wants to serve this country, but they want to use the military. Basically, they want to use the military as a means to gain citizenship, which, by the way, should actually be a thing. I mean, you serve this country, you should become a citizen, period. Point blank, no questions asked. Right? You serve this country honorably, citizenship, boom, there you go, you got it. But yeah, they're going to be after the LGBTQ community, and then they're going to go after, you know, the different races, and, you know, going to go after women again. So basically, we're just going to go back to, you know, maybe a segregated military like we had during World War II and prior. Maybe you're going to determine that, you know, black people are no longer, you know, fit to serve because, you know, at one point in time that was the case, wasn't it? You know, integrating units. Guess what? It's always worked. Did it cause a little bit of an uproar at first? Yeah. But then guess what? The military is the best reflection of what the United States of America looks like. Actually, minority groups are overrepresented in the military. Overrepresented. Largely because in a lot of minority communities, they just don't have the opportunities that people who look like me have, right? Just because they look like me. You know, I mean, you want to say that white privilege is not a thing. Well, yes it is. Yes it is. Do you know when the last time I've been stopped by a cop was just because of the color of my skin? It's never happened. In 50 years, it has never happened. Not once. Not a single time. You know, when the last time somebody looked at me in a store like I was going to steal something? It's never happened. Not once. You know, when the last time somebody looked at me like I was some kind of a threat to them because of the way I look? That's been extremely rare. You know, but I was also kind of, well, I mean, I'm kind of gruff looking right now, but, you know, I've been, you know, gruff looking at times throughout my life, you know, the long hair and the heavy metal band t-shirts, you know, and especially in my youth, you know, I mean, I just look like a thug, right, or a hoodlum, or, you know, just because of the long hair, right? But yeah, 15 to 18 years, and you don't offer them early retirement as an option, just because they're transgender. Way to go, Air Force. Way to go. And by the way, make no mistake, Army, Navy, Marines, they're going to follow suit. Make no mistake about it. It's going to happen. It's not just an Air Force thing. In fact, the Air Force is probably the most woke branch of the military anyway, right? They have a reputation for being the softest, right? I mean, we joke about, you know, there are jokes between the services, right? My sister is in the Air Force. And one of the jokes that I have told is that, you know, when talking to Air Force guys, is, yeah, my sister's in the Air Force, because if she'd have been my brother, she'd have been man enough to join the Army. You know, I mean, just a joke, of course. But, you know, the Air Force, like I said, they've got the reputation for being soft, you know, and not really doing much of any importance or, you know, doing any of the real work. Not true, of course. But yeah, denying retirement pay for people that you are forcing out who have served long enough to earn early retirement? Bullshit. Bullshit. So again, trans Air Force vets, this isn't me saying it, it's your government saying it to you. Fuck you for your service. I'll catch you next time.